So I'm going to start with you, and I just wondered if you could briefly describe to the committee your experience with HBOS Reading and the specific way in which your business was treated inappropriately.
Well, I think it's an unusual case, HBOS Reading, in that I haven't come across any others where a lot of it was to do with bankers with a predilection for prostitutes and bling. But basically, HBOS Reading is the same as GRG or other business support units, and the goal was to strip people's assets and take their assets. No consideration at all for what happened to the business owners. But worse than that, I would say that once Lynden Scourfield and his gang were rumbled, it's very disappointing that the bank, when we presented them with evidence, just chose to try and bury what had happened. So it took my husband and I 10 years to actually see people go to jail, which that wasn't particularly our aim. Our aim was to get all the victims sorted. But because there was so much denial, they used the 3 Ds on us: delay, deny, dilute. We had to push that hard, and fortunately Thames Valley Police did eventually get involved. But even then, it wasn't plain sailing. It wasn't plain sailing that the CPS would charge them. It took forever to get the CPS to charge people. And the remit of Thames Valley Police was understandably narrow because it costs a fortune to prosecute these cases. It costs £7 million to prosecute the HBOS Reading case, to put 6 people in jail. Well, how many crooks can you put in jail for £7 million? So as long as our police forces are underfunded, they're naturally reluctant to take that pass. It was a great result, and the NCA are now taking it over to widen the remit, which is fantastic. But it's a big problem that this kind of thing will happen unless the police are funded and the banks know that they are funded.
The inappropriate treatment was obviously the first inappropriate treatment by the bank you took the loan from, but then compounded by having to fight so hard to get this investigated and prosecuted.
Well, yes, the bank actually started their own investigations into HBOS Reading in January. Actually, someone was charged with investigating, and by he was given the actual job in July, and he'd finished the report by February 2007. So the bank knew what Lynden Scourfield was doing, but rather than do anything about what Lynden Scourfield was doing, they decided the best policy would be to blame the customers, close all the companies down, and get rid of any traces of what was happening, which is what happened. And that's been so much worse for the victims. Even now, plenty of victims still haven't been compensated.
Thank you. Mrs.